What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And with the release of Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, I thought this would be the perfect time to stop and rank every single movie in the Fast and Furious franchise. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. I was going to review all these. I didn't get to review every one of them, but I did review some of them. You can check out those videos. But let's go ahead and get into these. Coming in at last place for me is easily going to be Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. In a way, this is kind of the black sheep of the Fast and Furious franchise. Very forgettable, not a lot of great moments. Now, this is the film that introduced us to Han's character, which that is my one exception. But other than that, this film is very bad, and in my opinion, it just doesn't work, so it comes in at last place. And number 8 is going to be Fast and Furious 2009. Now, when I first watched this, which was actually a few days ago, I reviewed it and I gave it a positive rating. I rewatched it before going to see Hobbs and Shaw, and I realized there was a lot of bad elements that I didn't realize the first time I watched it. It's very mediocre, and there's not really a lot of great moments. Now, and also another fact is Letty, one of the best characters of the franchise. Her death in this film is portrayed by a phone call. Mia calls Dom and tells him that Letty has died. I just don't think that's a very good way to kill off Letty. Now, spoiler alert, she does come back in the franchise, but say this was her death in the franchise, they just didn't do a very good job. So it comes in at number 8. At number 7, I'm going to go with Too Fast, Too Furious. This film is completely, at the same time where I would say it's awesome, I was also very disappointed and had some problems with it. But this introduced us to Roman Pierce, the jokester of the franchise. He's one of the best characters of the franchise. He's easily the funniest character of the franchise, and his character, the way they introduce him, works so well. I love his character in these movies. Now, other than that, this movie's very mediocre, so that's why it comes in at 7th place. At number 6, I'm going to go with Furious 7. This is one that I really want to, that out of the newer Fast and Furious franchise is easily the weakest. And one of the reasons is because due to the loss of Paul Walker, they had to kind of rewrite the script, which kind of moved things around a bit, so you don't really, and it kind of takes away from the film, and due to that, the film kind of just keeps moving through plot lines a little too fast. But that emotional sequence at the end of the movie for Paul Walker, I think that's a very good sequence. That's the best part of this movie, and it is a good movie. It's just not one of my favorites, so it comes in at number 6. Bringing us into the top 5 is going to be The Fast and the Furious. This film, the original film in the franchise, is just so amazing. The way they move through plot lines works good. Now, you can check out my review. I did have some problems. I felt like they mixed drag race and kind of spy thriller and mix it together, which works very well. It makes for a good story, but I feel like it's a bit too many plot points. You can check out my review of it for more information. But honestly, as the film to start off the franchise, this is easily one of the best, so it comes in at number 5. At number 4 for me is going to be Fast and Furious 6. This is one that I really want to put higher because I actually really enjoy this film, but I watched this for the first time the other day. I love this film. Rewatched it. I didn't love it as much, but it kind of falls under the bus a little bit. I want to put it higher. It is a very good film. The way they continue from Fast 5 and what they're trying to do. Hobbs is great in this film. Dom's great in this film. Paul Walker's great in this film. The whole film, it's just a great film. I want to put it higher. And also, but another thing, Owen Shaw, I feel like as a villain, he's a little bit mediocre villain, but he's still a good villain in this franchise. I want to put this film higher, but for me, it kind of falls under the bus a little bit, so it comes in at number 4. It is very funny though, especially Roman Pierce. Bringing us into the top 3 is going to be The Fate of the Furious. Now, A lot of people have this film near the bottom of their list. But I absolutely love this film. I feel like what they do in this film works very well. This is very underrated in my opinion. I feel like it's very underrated. And a lot of people don't realize the good moments. Like, the story between Dom getting to meet his son and saving his son works very well. Also, after in Furious 7, when Deckard Shaw was the villain, in this one he can kind of forgive them of his mistakes, and then he can be the one to save the day, where he saves Dom's son in the end. That's a very good sequence, and I feel like that's one of the best scenes of the franchise. This film, it is a very interesting film, and it's one that I would want to put higher. Also, easily the best scenes of this film is Hobbs and Shaw, which leads to the next film in this list, and that is our runner-up. At number 2 is going to be Hobbs and Shaw. This is such an amazing film. I first saw this film. I love this film. And I really wish that I could put this in first place, but the reason it isn't in first place is because there is one that I felt like was a little bit better, as well as the fact that this one, I just feel like in a franchise like Fast and Furious, where there's been so many movies, I feel like where there's been so many good movies in this franchise, I feel like I can't put the newest one above these good ones in the franchise. There is one that I do think this is very entertaining, one of the best of the Fast and Furious franchise, but there is one that I do think is better. But at number 1, what else could it be? I gotta go with Fast 5, the film that completely changes the story of what Fast and Furious is, works very well. They know what they want to do in this film. Plot is great, introduces us to Hobbs. And this is the first film where I felt like Fast and Furious. Now, the first Fast and Furious, it was a very good film. It was a good drag race spy thriller, and I really loved it. But once I saw this film, that is like the film that screamed Fast and Furious. It was like, this is Fast and Furious, and it is just, to this day, I still really love this film. And I just saw this film like 10 days ago, watching it before I went to go see Hobbs and Shaw. It's a very good movie, and this is a very good franchise. Hobbs and Shaw came close to beating this movie, but I mean, come on, I can't put Hobbs and Shaw above Fast 5, because this is the film that really, in a way, kind of gives us what Fast and Furious really is. So for me, Fast 5 is my number 1. Please be sure to comment down below your ranking of all of these Fast and Furious movies. Which ones do you love? Which ones do you hate? Or which ones are in between? We're going to disagree. That's the fun part, that we can all have different opinions. But anyway, thanks for watching, and peace out.